All right, everybody, if you can come back in, take a seat again, grab your drinks, whatever. We are going to start back up. We are going to do something that we've never done here at Hollywood WordPress before, which is a case study night. Now, of course, we've done case study lights where we've had people give little mini case studies, but this is going to be kind of fun because we'll start looking at some of the studios that are within our community here in the Hollywood WordPress community. By the way, I want to put a quick plug in. See me if you're a studio that wants to share an in-depth thing that you've done with WordPress. We want to see what you've done both as a designer and what you've done with WordPress on the development side. Okay, so that's what that's what I'm hoping to do more of those talks here in the future. And that's all I've got to say about that. I'm going to let you guys come up and introduce yourselves and introduce your talk.
So, my name is Karen Chacon, and this is Armando Estrada. We work with OPM Design Group. It's actually my husband and I own the company. It's a small design studio, and Armando and I have been working together since 1999. Okay, very first website way back in 1999. Before I get into talking about what we're going to be presenting today, I just want to mention, since we talked about socks and we talked about stress and big relievers of all of that, and running, and I think it was also mentioned something about rescue. So I just want to say that one of the things that I do to de-stress, I volunteer for the Westside German Shepherd Rescue. We just had 70 participants in the LA Marathon, so if any of you are runners or walkers for 5K or 13 miles or 26.2, come and see me after the presentation. I'll sign you up. Okay, so what we're going to be presenting today is a website that we did for the Animation Guild. They're an organization, it's a union that represents 5,000 people in the animation industry. Those are illustrators, animators, writers, technicians, directors, all of that. We got recommended to them by another client. We did a big site for the Bob Hope Airport. And we did the Animation Guild, our first job we did for them was probably about 4 years ago. We did their first redesign of the website that they had. What you're going to be seeing tonight is the second redesign they came to us to do because we had now come into a time where they wanted to have responsive. They wanted to incorporate, the big thing that Armando will be showing you is this member directory that was custom programmed for them. We also incorporated into it oral history interviews and a gallery, a customized gallery, blog, forum, all these things that they didn't have in the first website that we did for them because of some of the limitations that we were faced with at the time, technology-wise. So I'm going to let Armando do the technical stuff. I'm the designer. Armando does all the heavy lifting, so he's going to go over the particulars.
Hey everybody, thank you for coming out. Thank you Greg and Greg. Appreciate the time. If you can't hear me or don't understand what I'm saying, New York, Puerto Rican, so one of those accents tend to come out sometimes. So just let me know and I will be more than happy to repeat it. Like Karen said, the Animation Guild had specific needs. One of the things that they wanted to do is sort of rebrand themselves, be more member focused. So Karen came up with this tagline of "We are 839." 839 is their local union number. So it focuses more on the members and less about the guild itself. One of the things they wanted to do was highlight members on the homepage, and they initially wanted to have some members come in every month, take photographs of them, and then post that on the homepage. A big hero image. And then Karen had this, wonderful idea because we were initially going to do this member directory. She said, well, why can't we just pull from the database that we already have, and on the homepage, spotlight some members already that we have the data from, randomly when they, the user comes to the website, and everybody loved it, and that's the direction we headed in. So my presentation is going to be based mostly on how I build this website. Now, I don't profess to be an expert at anything. I don't like that title because I'm always learning. Yeah, I just want to throw that out there. So the Animation Guild, such a cool client. They already knew what they wanted in terms of they wanted to be responsive. They want the navigation to be universal, meaning that, you know, you go to some responsive websites nowadays and they're, you know, in desktop size you have the full navigation, then when you scale down to mobile you get the hamburger. They just wanted to go straight hamburger, which is, you're starting to see that a lot nowadays with websites where it's pretty universal. That way the user doesn't get like in their eyes confused. They wanted complete modern browser support. They didn't care about older browsers. They didn't care if somebody was an IE8 and the website didn't support that properly. Their thought was like, look, browsers are free. Anybody can get Chrome. Anybody can get Firefox for the most part, unless you're in a strict IT environment. And in that case, they're like, look, they can just look at it from home. So that was sort of a fresh approach to things because I didn't have to worry about that as a developer or programmer, whatever, coding monkey, whatever you want to call me. So let me, and I don't know how many of you have actually gone out to the website knowing that this was going to be the presentation tonight. So if you're not familiar with, awesome. If you're not familiar with the Animation Go website, they wanted to be, you know, they wanted a clean design, and obviously that's on Karen's end. But just to show you how the homepage works, obviously, this is pulling from the members directory database. So all it's pulling, and we'll get to this a little bit later, when the person creates a profile, they get to fill in a lot of information. One of them is a profile image, their name, obviously, and a hero image, if they have one. So that's what's basically 3 elements that it's pulling. So it's pulling the profile image, hero image, and their name. As far as plugins go, you know what, let me take that back really quick. Excuse me, and this is my second time doing this, so some of the things that I use to create this is the Zurb Foundation responsive framework. It's similar to Bootstrap. I'm sure, how many of you are familiar with the Bootstrap and Zurb and all that stuff? How many are not? Basically, they're just like plain frameworks. They're not actually pre-designed themes. If you were to install this theme and activate it, all you're going to see is Hello World right up there, nothing else, which is awesome. I hate craft, and I like designing, programming things as much as I can from scratch. There is a theme called Cornerstone. This is a theme based off of Foundation, which also supplies you with a child theme that you can customize your theme with and not actually touch the actual code that Foundation provides. Some of the plugins that I used, there's a suite by WP Types called WP Toolset. This is the primary plugin suite that I use to create most of the site. I will send them to you.
Don't worry about writing down some of the details and make sure we get all the stuff to you.
This is a commercial set of plugins. They do offer one plugin for free called Types, which allows you to create custom post types, custom taxonomies, and custom fields. That is totally free. You can go to the WordPress repository or to their website. They also have another component called Views and Cred. Views allows you to create these little mini loops that you can then plug into your website. So going back to the homepage, this section here is essentially a view that's created with the tools that says, I want to grab the name, I want to grab the image, their profile image, and I want to grab the hero image, and I want to loop through this twice and give me the results. And that's essentially what it did. The other component to this is what they call Cred. Cred is a front-end form plugin. So basically what this allows is the user to see a page that has a form that they can fill out. Once you hit submit, something will happen. Usually it's a post is created. And that's how we get the membership information from the user. They also came out with a new tool for those of you who aren't too designy and layout centric, called Layouts. I haven't used it. I don't think I have personal need for it, but it's a new plugin for their toolset. It's $300. The good thing about this is that once you pay the $300, you get updates for life. Unlike most of these other business models that we see with these plugins, where every year you have to renew your license. And again, these are very developer-centric tools. They're not, I'm going to install this plugin and I get a calendar type thing. So you will essentially be getting your hands dirty with coding at some point. They can be integrated with existing themes if you're working with a Genesis or anything, or pre-bought themes from Code Canyon or wherever. The other plugin that I used was Advanced Custom Fields. I'm hoping most of you are familiar with this if you're doing any kind of coding. These plugins also allow you to customize the back end of WordPress for your clients, and it makes it more of a CMS and less of a blogging platform, which is essentially what we use WordPress for. It's more of a CMS. Really quick, I'm hoping I can just get through this really quick. So call me on time if I get too long with this stuff. Some of the pros of WP Types: it's a complete suite, goes through loops, front-end editing. Their support staff is great. Usually they have, they're primarily a European-ish overseas company. They have people in Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. So when you ask for support, expect at least a 24-hour turnaround time because of the time difference. They get frequently updated. It's very developer friendly. Some of the cons: it's a steep learning curve. Their documentation is usually outdated and not very well articulated because they are from these different parts of the world where English is usually not the first language, and they make a lot of assumptions that you know what they're talking about, and a lot of times it's hard to parse the documentation. You're also coding within the WordPress editor, and hopefully I can get to this towards the end, and it's missing some obvious features which can also be added with custom code. One of those is member registration. Let's say you want to have a membership website. It doesn't register, it doesn't have that built in. Pagination is another one. They have pagination controls, but their implementation is very, not standard. You don't get the, 1, 2, 3, 4 pagination that you normally would get at the bottom of the page. So you have to implement that through code. And this is what the code usually looks like. And again, you're coding within the WordPress editor. So if you're a coder per se, which you're using tools like Sublime or Brackets or anything like that, and again, and if I get too far with some of this stuff, some of you are pretty advanced developers or intermediate or beginners, and you don't understand some of this stuff, please raise your hand and ask me a question. But you're editing within the WordPress editor. To me, that's a little clunky and a little cumbersome. But the good thing about this is that you're coding little chunks. You're not coding your entire website that way. So, for example, this is the profile section here. And this is what a shortcode, it's basically a bunch of shortcodes within the WordPress editors that do things. And a lot of times you can insert them visually with these buttons up here. So I would click on this button here normally, this is a screenshot, and it'll bring up a window that says, okay, what do you want? Okay, I want from this custom post type called membership, I want to pull this field called profile image. Make it a width of 170, height of 210, align none, done. So again, this is all within your little WordPress window. Yes, sir? Going too far? Fast? Yes.
Well, I'm just curious, are you editing the actual plugin or are you editing the code that the plugin is going to output?
Exactly. Exactly.
So you're not editing the plugin.
You're not editing the plugin. The plugin, yes, exactly. So yes, exactly. So what it does is like you're basically pulling bits of data. You can actually pull one piece of data, 10 pieces of data, whatever, in these little chunks that you can then put into your website. Exactly.
Alternative to using bigger text into your coding
Yeah.
in a world that
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So it basically what this plugin does, it bridges the gap between somebody who doesn't know how to code loops and query the database it does it for you, but you still need to know how to implement it. And that's the key, is kind of like, you still have to have that mentality of a programmer to a certain degree, to implement. But it really helps out a lot. Advanced Custom Field, hopefully most of you guys are familiar with it too. Awesome plugin. The pro version is $100, and again, $400 for these things. Charge a client one time, use it forever. That's all I gotta say. It's flexible, friendly developer to one man shop. I think he's got some help now with support. So, again, unlike the other one where they have 10 support staff, this guy's only one. So, but documentation's awesome. He's really responsive. He's also kind of like, hey, do this, and if you don't know how to do this, go Google it, kind of thing too. So
Look at the codex.
exactly, you look at the codex kind of thing. So it's also, steep learning curve, single developer again. There's no back end, no coding in the WYSIWYG. It's all back end coding that you have to do in the actual PHP stuff, and no front end editing. So that being said, I am going to, yes sir.
So, advanced custom fields, I've used in the past, I don't use or like it, like pods or magic.
Right.
And stuff like that. Why do you heard much buzz about I.A.T.S.E, like,
Mm-hmm.
compared to, nothing the other one, comparison. Like, do you really think it's that much better than these other ones, or?
Well, Advanced Custom Field is definitely, in my opinion, one of the best out there. But again, there are some shortcomings, and that's where the WP tools came in to plug those holes. I'm familiar with pods enough to know what it does. I'm not familiar with it in terms of working with it, but I'm sure it has its own limitations. So it's kind of like, what tool is the right tool for my job? And for you, exactly, based on your skill level. My analogy is always like, you have a butter knife, you can screw something with a butter knife, but it's not the right tool. You know what I'm saying? So, so Advanced Custom Fields is something that is worth your investment in time.
And that is the beauty of WordPress.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You can use advanced custom fields, you can use WP post types for doing that sort of stuff.
Right.
Or you can put it in a function on PHP.
Exactly. So, let's see here. So, back to the Animation Guild website really quick. That's not a glitch. That's the way it's supposed to look. Had to do some JavaScript magic to move some of these elements around. Again, responsive. That's a strange, but I'll get back to that. So if we were to look at a member's profile, this is a single page, meaning I'm talking about from a WordPress template hierarchy structure. This is a single page, just called member. So from right here, the member is able to upload their hero image here, their profile image, and since they're all illustrators, most of them have illustrations for their profile image. They also can put in what it is that they do. Some of these people actually are multi, what do you call that? Not talented, but they do a lot of stuff. So this guy just happened to have 2. You'd be surprised. Some of these people have like 10, 15 things that they do. Their direct contact information. And the main purpose for the directory is so that all these studios can now go to the Animation Guild website and and find talent themselves. They don't have to call the guild like, hey, we have a job posting, can you find us somebody who does this and this and this? Or I'm sure that gets old quickly when you're dealing with like Disney and DreamWorks and all these other studios. So the hiring manager can say, they can just direct them right to the website. Hey, look, you're looking for a character designer? Go to the website, and I'll show you how that works now. So this is the member search page. So let's say, for example, I'm looking for a character designer. And one thing about the form, it's called a parametric search form, meaning that you're searching multiple criterias at once. So it's not just a standard search from like, hey, I'm just going to search for Mike and pops up or this. So I can actually say I want a character designer who is available. And if I hit my search form without putting in a name, I should hopefully get results. There we go. So I have 12 results. These are 12 character animators who are currently available for work. Yes, you absolutely can. You can, and that's part of the parametric search, and that's built into the WP Tools toolset, where you can create these parametric forms. Where, you know, so yes. So if I were to refine that even more, I want a man or woman who is a background painter, who's also a cleanup, or you know, and is available. So basically, it's going to give me, yeah. So actually, it should give me 9. So as you can see before, all these, you know, a lot of these people have multi stuff. Yes, way back there. Come on back here. You're too far away. Come on. Come close. No. The member search, anybody can go to it. To become a member, you must be a guild member. And I'll go through the process hopefully soon. That means that yeah, if you go to the menu, it is under community, member search. And by the way, that menu system is called Shift Nav. Thank you, which allows you to create these off-canvas slide-in navigation items, multi-level, which is, you know, this is a pretty. Yes, that is correct. I was gonna. There is a free jQuery code that does a similar thing. I was going to implement that until I found this and did the same thing. I was like, why not?
It's a free
$29,
plugin?
so it's essentially free.
It's not free.
You know, the $29 gets you, yeah, it's worth every penny. Yeah, that $29 gets you that support, which I have used. So, so that's how we solved that whole, you know, single menu thing. So where was I? Yeah, so we've seen how you can do the search. And let's say I want to say Alvarez over here. Andres doesn't have any artwork. Awesome. So and the cool thing about it is if they don't put a profile image, they just get the generic avatar. So all that stuff is programmed within your editor. So you can, you know, you have if-then statements. So it's very flexible, very powerful. So it says, you know, if no image is found for the profile image, then plug in this avatar instead as a placeholder. I think Bob Harper might have some illustrations.
And if no hero image, it doesn't upload.
Yes, that's another thing. If the user doesn't upload a hero image and a profile image, they don't get to be featured on the homepage, which is an opt-in thing. Because those, if you don't have a hero image, then you're not going to show up on the homepage because the homepage has a hero image and a profile image. So how do these people become members? Again, or how do they get a profile page? Again, since this is a members only thing, they need to be vetted by the Animation Guild. And they do that by supplying the last 4 digits of Social Security number when they sign up. So what happens is, let's say I'm a guild member. I just found out about this and I want my, I want to create a membership page. So, also, all throughout the website, within the interior pages, let's say I want to learn about the guild. On the sidebar, a random member gets their hero image also featured on the sidebar at the top. And from right here, I can see Nat's stuff. That way, it keeps the user engaged with the freshness of the members and also drives home that we are 839. You know, it's about the members. So if I were to refresh it again, you're just going to get another image. Yay, a nice long one. Breaks the design. Awesome. So I want to be a member. So my name is, I'm going to put Armando R because I'm sure I might have one already when I was playing with it. Last name Estrada. Email address. Let's try this one. And my last 4 digits on my social. And I'm going to create a username. I'm just going to call this WP Group. Password WP Group. So when I hit submit, hopefully what will happen is I already let them know that I was gonna be doing that, so I told them not to freak out. So they get, remember, verification page says, hey, thanks for contacting us. We got your stuff. We're gonna let you know what's gonna happen. Cool thing about this is just by asking the user for those 4 or 5 field sets, hopefully what will also happen is the administrator at the Animation Guild gets an email that says, hey, this person just put in an application, and the user should get an email saying, thanks for, submitting, we'll get back to you soon. Yay! So there's 2 emails here, one to the user and one to the admin. Cool thing about this is that once a user hits submit, a couple things happen in the back end. I'm going to refresh this. Custom post type called members automatically gets created. So basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to automate as much of this process as we can for the administrator. So they're not sitting there getting, 5 emails and all of a sudden all this, I got to do this, I got to approve the member, I got to create their page, I got to do all this stuff. It's like everything is automatically created for them. The member page is created. Notice how it says pending up there for their membership status. The author is set automatically. So some of these fields are automatically set. Their email address. Their user is also created. Again, that is not natively supported by Toolset. I had to create custom code. The cool thing about their the Cred tool, and I don't get any affiliate points just for this, just so you know. It has some webhook APIs, meaning that when somebody submits the form, you can code something that says, okay, once somebody submits the form, create a user. So you have to code that in right before the form gets posted. So all this code execution can happen before the post part of the form happens. So once I verify that they are a member, then as the administrator, all they have to do is hit publish. So this part alleviates a lot of this component approval process for the administrator. So there we go. I just created a member for myself. Huh? Yeah, this is the production site. I'll delete it soon. And also, once I hit publish as the administrator, a user also gets an email saying, hey, your profile's been approved. Here's the link to it. They can actually click from within the link, the email within the link, takes them to their page. I'm gonna try to log in. Hopefully it works. Hopefully I remember the password. What was it?
WP Group.
Thank you. So
Yes.
thank you. So if I were to go in here, don't know what the heck that is on the right. WP Group was my username. WP Group is my password. So there is another, for the login, front-end login, again, not supported natively by WP type. So I had to find a plugin for that. There's an awesome plugin on Code Canyon for user registration and membership management called, I know it's plugin hell. Oh, it's actually not a lot of plugins, it's a lot of custom post types. By CSS Jockey, which I don't have written down anywhere, called Membership Module. Awesome guy. He's very responsive and very on it. So I'm gonna log in. How am I on time? Because I could do this all day. Yeah, cool. So I'm logged in, kind of goes to the front end. The email kind of explains that once a person logs in, doesn't automatically take them to the profile page. It just logs them into the WordPress, but they're not seeing the back end and the login, WordPress login, little window that we're all used to. But from here, I can, and what should have happened was up here, I should have gotten a hello whatever and a link to my profile. That's interesting why it's not there, because it should be there. So that being said, normally, no, that is Firefox developer version, and I was using that so I can do the member registration demonstration. So this is what the stock profile looks like. Notice I have that's weird, I'm going to look into that. But normally up here it'll say, you're all used to that. Hey Mike, welcome to, whatever. So it's a similar thing. They can click on it, it should take them to this page. Automatically they get, their first name up here. So it's, whatever's profile. By default, they're not available for work, their email address, but they can click edit my profile once they're logged in. That's my confirmation email. And this is the form they fill out. Looks like a lot because it is a lot. Yes?
What are you using? WordPress?
No, this is all WP tools and coded specifically for that, so this is not BuddyPress.
And the membership program?
It's not a membership program. It's all coded via the WP. Yeah, it's all coded via WP tools. Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing I want to drive is this is all coded specifically for this need via these tools. These tools allow me to pull things from the database and utilize them, but also it has a front end. This is CRED tool, a plugin that we're seeing here, which allows front end editing. So as the user, I get to edit, my page through the front end. So there's the only person who has access to the back end is the administrator, which is me and somebody else. I hopefully have.
To get this kind of result on our website, we have to code it with
You will need to probably either, similar to you. The tools are, like I said, the tools are good. I should have had some images here, sort of handy really quick. My nephew, so I am a CG whatever, I'm a compositor, and I also do this stuff here. So this is, here's where that featured image homepage thing comes in, okay? Since I use a featured profile image, and I'm also going to be uploading a featured image, this whole section just showed up, front page opt-in. If you didn't plug in a featured image and a profile, you will not see this. And I want to opt in because I like my stuff up there. I can plug in my website, my demo reel, my blog. I can add another one if I have multiple websites. I am available for work. Notice how the date went away because I'm available instead of being available for freelance. I'm sorry, not available, shows you the date because a lot of these people have, it's like most of us, contracted work, 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, a year. They're at a specific place, specific amount of time. They know when they're done with the project. So at that time, they can just say, oh yeah, I'm going to be done in blah, blah, blah date. So, the user can see that. So I'm going to say I'm available really quick.
So the visitor can see the calendar on the front end?
I am now the user setting up my profile page.
No, I'm saying about me, let's just say I wanted to look at this person's profile. I can see their calendar when they're available.
You can say, yeah, it'll say available and the date that that person's available. So yes, that information is on the front end. All this information shows up on the front end. So I'm gonna hit submit. It takes a little bit of time because what's happening is the images are being uploaded to the server. That was quick, quicker than I expected. Custom image sizes are being generated for the different parts of the site. because I don't want to put in a humongous image on the front end because the maximum is only this big. So I generated different image sizes for different components of the site. So this is my profile page. And I can edit it again and go back. It says, what I do. I show up in the results page. And that's pretty much it for the membership section. Any questions so far? Yes?
I'm just curious about the plugin name again.
It's WP-Types. T-Y-P-E-S is the company, and there are 3 different plugins that do different things that come together to allow you to do this kind of work.
What are those 3?
Types. WP-Types is a free plugin. It's actually a free plugin for that one component, which allows you to do quite a lot by itself. Views allows you to do the loops, and Cred allows me to do the front-end forms that we see here. So any more questions, please feel free to blur them out. I also want to go into really quick on how we utilize advanced custom fields and some of these other things. Again, utilizing or using WordPress as a CMS and not a blogging platform, those 2 plugins are indispensable, in my opinion. This is a oral history section to the website. They have podcasty MP3 files that they've been collecting for quite a while, and some of them have videos that are being embedded. So whenever they want to add one, all they have to do is go to oral history section, add new, and hopefully most of you guys are familiar with custom post types. If you're not, please let me know, because this might not make sense. So all they do is plug in their last name, and this is used for, and you can basically with event custom fields, lets you put in the little messages for the user. That's used for sorting their image, their photo, their last name, because this is sectioned off into an alphabetized category drop-down menu system. I'll show it to you in a moment. Their stuff about them, their audio file, link to the audio file. Obviously, it's on Amazon S3, and a video embed. So then all they have to do is publish that. And if we go to the community, for oral history, where are we? For members? No. Did I build this website? Where the heck is that? About the Guild? The Guild? Yay, somewhere here. There it is. So this allows those to show up here. As you can see, there's a lot of them. So the way that we, instead of having this whole giant list on one page or multiple pages, we just use the little drop down. And again, all this was custom coded. What was it? What was his name? B? Burchard. Yeah. So there's Robert Burchard there. So if we go to their page, there it is there. There's the MP3 players and the video. And their information. There's the archives. So there's also an archive page, which is basically this. So this whole section was definitely coded using advanced custom fields on a template page. Same thing for the gallery. They have a gallery section. I utilize a script called Royal Slider. Love it. They have a WordPress native plugin. I got the JavaScript version. Why not? Instead of the plugin version. That way I can control when the JavaScript loads on a page. I don't want this JavaScript loading when I'm looking at the about section of the history of the website or the home page. So by me getting the JavaScript version, I can create a function that says, you know what, load these assets only when I'm in this page. And that kind of minimizes that. So every month they have an actual physical gallery there that they highlight membership artwork, members artwork once a month. So they just take pictures, post them up here. Thing about this page is that it's actually broken down into 2 separate sections. This bottom section here is actually static, meaning that it doesn't matter once we go to the archives. Let's say we looked at last 2014. That looks ugly. Not your fault. This is the archive page for the year. So every year, for that year, all the gallery people are there. But if we're going to visit an older one, again, this section is static. That's being pulled in with the get template part component. So hopefully, really quick, how much time do I have? 5 minutes. Okay. So really quick, I'm going to show you how those tools work. Hopefully, this will be the fun part that I should have gotten into before, but since this is my first time doing it, should have did that first. So here we have types, cred, and views. So types, custom post types, you can get this installed for free and go through it yourself. Views is where the magic kind of sort of happens. So we have the views. So these are the different views. Here's my featured member home, interior sidebar, so member search and profile links. So let's take a look at the featured member home, which is the homepage featured member section. So basically, this is how it looks like. You say, okay, I'm pulling my data from members. Okay, I want it in random order. Awesome. Thank you. I'm pulling it in random order, and I want to only display 2 items. Okay, there's this thing called filtering, meaning that if that person checked the I want to be opt-in when they were setting up their profile, remember I checked that on, that's also part of this. So it says if this person, and here I'll show you how easy it is. I can go in here and add a filter. So I just select my custom post types right from here, and because I have advanced custom fields. So here's my members area. Here's the blog, URL, their first name, their profile image. So let's say profile image. I want to add that on there. So if the profile image is constant of 1, which ties back into types, 0 meaning no, 1 meaning yes. So if yes, there is a profile image and the person opted in, then I want the results. So, and here's the code for that. Once you do that initial setup, then I can go in here and say I want to add a field from my members area. Notice how it dropped me down here, and that was the profile image. It knows that it's an image and not something else like text, so it's going to give me controls for that. Sorry, I have to zoom it down a bit. And I can put an image title, alt text. These are my custom sizes here. Once I insert the shortcode, basically looks like that here. This is my shortcode. Basically, that line of text is what allows that image to show up in the front end. So the moral of the story is that yes, it's a heavy developer time investment tool set. If you feel this is out of your scope and you're more on the designer side of things, team up with somebody who's actually a coder. If you're a coder and you're not really too good in the design thing, part of it, team up with a designer, work together. Don't, try not to say I need to hire feel like you need to hire somebody like full-time or anything like that. You can just do it on a per project basis. Factor in their costs into your proposals. Say, okay, this is the scope. How much are you going to charge me for creating the comps? That goes into some of the talk that Greg's were talking about earlier. Any questions so far? Yes, sir.
Yeah, when you started this project, you go into how that developed. I mean, you have a meeting and they said, well, here's a suitcase, this is fairly complicated stuff. Here's all the stuff we want. Or was this developed over a period of time with input from the members, like move like this, move like that?
Karen.
Background to
Sure, absolutely. Karen will chime in this part, but for the most part, they knew what components they wanted on their website. They knew they wanted a member directory. They knew they wanted a blog incorporated directly into their site before it was a Blogger on the Blogger platform. So it was a separate URL component. They wanted a store incorporated into the site. So they had their wish list of components that they wanted. So with that initial information, and there was also a design committee involved.
Like
12 people. Thank the stars and everything else that people believe in that they were only involved in the initial part of it, which was the design process. And once Karen presented the design and they approved the design, they were gone, they were done. So yes, there was a small committee, and
They had an idea of what they wanted, but they didn't know how they wanted it presented. And for example, Armando touched on it really quickly early on. And initially, they were locked on to this website that another union had done. And this union, you could tell, they got a professional photographer, they went out, they did this big hero image that took up the whole upper portion of the screen. It was one huge image, it was very stylized, and all of the images they shot of the 3 or 4 Illustrator, or I think it was Illustrator, no, production artists or whatever that they were featuring, they were all consistent. And this organization could not pull that off. They did not have the manpower or want to put in the financing
yeah, to get the talent.
Have a professional photographer go out, get these people to get into a art-directed background area and have that done. So I was trying to convince them that what was practical would be to highlight the actual artwork of the artist. So they had to see the comp in order to
get it
right. But then once they saw it, then they understood it would be much easier of a process. Now they don't have to worry about it. It does itself.
So I know my head will be hurting right now because I've gone to talks before and stuff that I have no clue what they're talking about, and I'm like, thanks. I have no idea what you're talking about. So I'm hoping that you don't come out of this. It's just, I'm just sharing my experience building this, what tools I used, and how it was achieved. Any more questions? Yes, we're in the back again. No, ZERB is a framework. Yes. That is correct. No, that will allow you to create responsive websites using the ZERB Foundation frameworks, very similar to Twitter's Bootstrap. No, it is not short code based, it's all template based. So you let me see if I can, do I have time to show real quick? Show how the template system works. So, okay. Yeah, no problem. Anybody else?
Connect for him for that, and connect for me for running the marathon next year.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, cool. We are going to take a quick 2-minute break. We're going to switch computers. And then we're going to a demo of the new Code Cavalry. So you guys can kind of see what that has to offer. And if you're ever in a jam where you find that you're developing a website, you get to a point where you have done everything on the website, but there's one thing you couldn't figure out in code. This can be a really good resource to get some code expert help on your website for a really low price.